News coming out right now about Janibek and Kumanali, who definitely looks at the situation of him having these belts as, you know, everything being on his side. Because from what I've seen, I thought he was going to actually have a rematch coming up soon with Denzel Bentley. They've been talking about that for a while now. Bentley was somebody, I don't know if people have seen the fight a couple of years ago, but Denzel Bentley gave Janibek probably his toughest fight to date so far. Um, I definitely felt like Bentley could have possibly won that fight. I mean, that's how close the fight is. If you go back and look at it, and that was a guy that went the distance with Janibek. If you look at the scorecards, they're all over the place. A lot of people definitely didn't give Bentley the round that he deserved in that fight, but I feel like he gave Janibek a hard, tough fight. That's why when a lot of people were high up on Janibek, I'm like, I don't think these people have been watching boxing to the point where I've seen, because if you look at everything Janibek's done lately, I mean, he's absolutely put some things together where you could say, okay, he's a good fighter. But he hasn't really tested himself to the point where you're guaranteed know where he stands, and like as far as his skill set and everything else. The fact that people are kind of speaking in that manner about him, I definitely kind of look at it funny. Because how would you know where Janibek is in that situation if he hasn't fought certain competition? I mean, you're hoping that he's at a certain level, but we don't know what level he's at right now. And for him, the names he's being mentioned with are guys who hasn't been tested. Now, I like Shakiel Thompson. I think that he's a very good fighter. Not a prospect no more. I would say he was a while ago. Not a prospect anymore, but still haven't proven himself at a certain level. But that's a guy that they're talking about Janibek getting in the ring with. Him or Denzel Bentley. Which I feel like the Bentley fight would be a good fight as well. Just like I said before, if Janibek would feel like he needs to go out there and get a knockout this time, the fact that they're even talking about a rematch with Bentley, it proves everything I said right to be as far as the way they look at it. That was a tough fight. A lot of people feel like he lost that fight. I'm telling you. For him to be thinking about that fight 3 years later? That fight was 3 years ago. Almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. To be thinking about that fight right now, it definitely shows that was a very tough fight in his situation. And he only fought 3 times in the last 2 years. He needs to get moving. I mean, I know he had the situation that happened with the weight issue last summer. That was definitely given a pass for that, but he has to get moving ASAP. For him not to be in the mix right now and to not be giving us the fight that we are asking for at 160, I think Hamza Shiraz is fighting the guy that we wanted him to fight. I wanted Janibek to fight Carlos Adames. Now Hamza Shiraz is fighting Carlos Adames. People are saying, well, Shiraz is ducking Janibek. No, not by taking a fight with a guy who's just as tough. He's a champion too. You can't duck a champion by fighting another champion. That doesn't make any sense. Not these days. Definitely not these days. That's going to make it easier to have a Janibek fight. Who knows if Janibek was trying to fight either. People will say, well, Janibek didn't drop his belt. Yeah, but if you look at the way they're moving right now, a lot of these fighters that Janibek is looking at is a part of the same situation as Hamza Shiraz. So it's not like they're far off. Like they couldn't get negotiations done. It just wasn't the right time they felt like they wanted to fight. Maybe they felt like that fight was at a bigger stage, probably, like if it's for unifications or undisputed. They're probably not looking at the fight as being a fight for just a belt. They move like that these days, if you know boxing business. But just for Janibek, me personally, I feel like he needs to get on the ball. Too many guys at 160 right now making moves. And if he wants to get anything done, I suggest he be the one that starts to get things done. He has 2 belts in 160. Most people don't know any of the guys he's fought. I think it's time for him to step up. Because right now I'm looking at Hamza Shiraz as the guy who is going to be the man right now, 160. Even though he doesn't have a belt. Matter of fact, I would look at Carlos Adames. Those are two guys that try to fight Janibek, and they're fighting each other. It doesn't make sense. It makes sense to me, but on the outside looking in, people aren't going to understand. But he has to figure something out quick. Shakiel Thompson, and Shakiel Thompson has a fight coming up in a week, 2 weeks, a week. So Shakiel Thompson is in a situation where he's going to be, waiting on Janibek or something? I don't understand that. Or Janibek's going to be waiting on him? And they're talking about that fight being next. And Shakiel Thompson has a whole fight coming up. Just don't understand that, but that's the fight that's being discussed. It's in talks right now. But that's all I got.